So you love movies, but you haven't really been watching much recently. You think they're in a slump with a few exceptions. I think that's kind of why I fell off of them. Years ago, I did watch more. I didn't really go out to the movies because that cost money and I didn't have money, but I would watch things when they were beyond that lifespan of being in the theaters, and I would enjoy them, but I just don't like them as much anymore. But I was also always a comedy Andy, right? I just wanted comedy movies always. And I think the lack of good comedy movies is very scary. They're not good anymore. Like, they're just not. And when there's one good one, it becomes the only good comedy movie for the next 2 years. And that's comedy in general is like dying. I don't know. There are some things that are so good, but Mel Brooks will save us. Hey, Spaceballs 2 is on its way, and, you know, he's still alive, so we'll see. But the thing is, I think the world is really afraid of a lot of things right now. I mostly blame the internet. A lot of stuff you can't say because you'll offend a small portion of people or whatever. And the thing is, I'm glad that we moved in that direction somewhat, because there are some things that really should have been gotten rid of, right? There's certain jokes we shouldn't have been making. And like, I agree, you know, but at the same time, there are a lot of things that I don't think we needed to get rid of. I think we've gone a little too far in that direction. But then on top of that, when you write a character in a movie and they make a really off-color joke, whatever, the character is making the joke. The character, it doesn't matter who wrote it. The point is you're portraying a character making the joke, and you're supposed to be like, that guy's an asshole, right? You can't just sit there and clutch your pearls at hearing the thing. You need to look at the character, and if the character is written in a way where they make this really bad joke and you're supposed to be like, I don't like that guy, then good, it did its purpose. It's okay for them to put that joke in the movie. It's not like every joke that exists in a movie is saying like, this is cool to say, you know what I mean? Yeah, they taken it out of character, exactly. But I think people are afraid regardless, because people started attacking like writers of jokes. So no one wants to like do that. But I don't know, even back in the day when a character would make a joke that was like kind of bad, I felt a lot of the time like, maybe this is just me, but I would watch those things and I would be like, wow, that guy's a piece of shit. I wouldn't hear that joke and be like, haha, that's so funny to say. I should say that too, Lamau. I wouldn't, you know, like I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, wow, that guy doesn't get the world. Haha, what an idiot. And that's how the person was portrayed. And I feel like you can't, like, I don't know, it makes it harder to do character portrayal of like negative traits. It's tough. I hate my wife. She's the old ball and chain type humor. Yeah, and the thing is, like, there are a lot of real people that say shit like that, especially older people. So if you want to write a character saying that, I think it's okay to write a character saying that. If the character is an older person, you're supposed to hear that and be like, ugh, you know? But people won't even write that into a character. They'll have him sit there and be like, I love my wife, I'm a perfect dad. And I'm like, I think we see more of it in cartoons nowadays, not in movies. Because if you write a cartoon character saying a thing, people will be like, oh, it's just a character. But then when it's an actor, you know, I don't know. There is still some of it. There's still some of it, but not enough, man. Some people want to cancel the villain doing bad things. I'm like, that's the villain. They're not presenting these traits as positive. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, right? You have to take the context into account. Django Unchained was great because everyone was convinced the character's shifty or not. Yeah, and it was also a portrayal. Like, those people weren't being like that just to be like that. It was a portrayal of the time, right? Like, they were trying to show some accuracy of like, there were people like this. We're writing about a guy like this at this time, and he said like this. And he wasn't portrayed as like so cool for everything he said, right? It was just showing the dude, and they were like, this is a portrayal of this guy, right? And then like, that was it. And then there were people that were angry about it, and I was like, I have this other take. I feel like when you censor everything horrifically, I feel like what happens is you make it so that people act like this doesn't happen. Does that make sense? Like, you make it not real. And then when they see something in person, they are, instead of just clocking it and immediately being like, I'm going to confront this, that's not okay or whatever. Instead, thing happens in front of them and they're stun locked. And they're like, oh, can you believe that? And they're just like, you know what I mean? Or they ignore it and they're like, that person's an anomaly. I've never seen or heard that before, so I'm just gonna ignore it. That person must be crazy, right? Yeah, they get disconnected from the reality of it. Whereas instead, I'm like, if you see portrayals of this, then when it happens in front of you, because things will inevitably happen in front of you, then you can immediately clock it. You're more prepared to be like, I can react to this now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a little too sheltering. So I feel like everything in humanity, even the negative, should be portrayed in some way, right? People don't understand period pieces anymore. Yeah, I think enough people do. It's a mixed bag. I think what happens is the average person does kind of get it, but then there's a loud group of people on the internet that are pissed. Does that make sense? Like, I think realistically, the world is not as shitty as people think. The people of the world are not as awful as people think or whatever. It's more that you just, certain voices are very loud and exacerbated, you know? And that kind of makes your perception of how people are really skewed. So a movie comes out and someone doesn't like the casting choice and they post about it, their one tweet gets so much engagement because so many people are agreeing or disagreeing in the comments or whatever, you know, in the replies. And then people, they get this idea in their head. They're like, oh, so many people are disagreeing with this. Or someone will write an article and quote this one tweet and put it in a reputable paper, quote unquote. And they'll be like, people are saying this. And by people, they mean like one guy and 10 replies. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So skewed.